They're going to nuke the entire colony. Do you have any idea what that means for all of you?
But,
It means that this colony's going to be destroyed, all right? There's nothing that we can do. You have to leave, Al. You and your mom have to get off this colony right away.
No way! It's all right. All we have to do is destroy it by Christmas.
I can't do that, you idiot!
You can do it, Bernie. I know you can.
No, I can't. There's absolutely no way that I can beat that new monster.
Yeah, it's new, but it's just a little faster. If we fix the Zaku, it'll work.
If we fix it, then what? Are you gonna be the pilot? Exactly, Al. The truth is, I've never even shot down one mobile suit. So there!
But what about everyone else? Come on, I'm sure we can still beat the Gundam. Damn!
And welcome back, everybody, to episode 7 of Gundam at MAHQ. This is one of your hosts, Neil Lorenoke, along with...
So, bro, Ryu, right here next to him.
And receiving them live down from South Florida is...
Chris.
We hope everybody had a great holiday season. We know that we took an extra week for a hiatus, and that was because there was just a lot of stuff going on, people being out of town and everything like that.
We had our own golden week, that's right.
Yes, and we hope everybody got their wishes granted for Christmas, especially some of the Gundam, some of the Mecha wishes that we had talked about in episode 6. But today's episode, we're going to be going into... it's actually the beginning of our 2-part series on the mind of Yoshiyuki Tomino. We're going to be talking about his Gundam works, some of our likes and dislikes on that, and which we will follow up on episode 8, some of his non-Gundam works. We'll also be talking about a new show, Macross Frontier, a new Macross show. There was a kind of a series teaser that was shown earlier this week, and we'll be doing some of our thoughts and impressions on that, and we will be continuing with our monthly recap of the last 4 episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam's 00, 9, 10, 11, and 12. But quickly, just got some quick news for everybody, mainly just some quick game news regarding Gundam. First thing we have here is, I guess there is going to be a Gundam 00 DS game, and the site is actually opened, and there's lots of little things, photos, screenshots of the game, and there's actually going to be some promotional information quickly about the game itself. There's going to be about 80 missions.
80?
Yeah, so, for a DS game, that sounds pretty hefty. And the characters are actually going to... There's actually be voiceovers with the characters, and there's actually going to be a mobile suit that we haven't yet seen in the TV series. And I guess people that reserve the game will get the Exia and some rollout colors. I guess these are some special colors that they're going to have for the actual rollout of the game. So, and other game news, if you go to Famitsu.com, there's going to actually... with the Garen's Greed game on the PSP, they're going to be showing some of the MSN Igloo and Zeta Gundam material. And actually, if you go to Amazon Japan, they actually have the cover of the Menace of Axis cover.
Wow.
It's pretty nice. I don't know who does this art style, but I've seen it before. It actually looks like the art style on the on those Blu-ray DVDs. But, of course, it's got Giran on there and all the usual suspects. So, and there's other game news. There's just going to be an SD Gundam Capsule Fighter game that came out for Hong Kong and China. It's going to be from Bandai Korea for Hong Kong, China, and Macau.
Yep.
So, I don't know what it's going to take to get us to these games, but hopefully we can get something. And if you go to Granada, there was actually from December 14th, 2007 to actually New Year's Day in Hong Kong, there was a Gundam Expo, and there's actually 3 links on there. Some people put up their pictures and some of their comments of this expo, and it's pretty interesting, and you get to see some really cool things. One of the highlights, they actually had a Master Grade Gunpla gallery that showcased all the 102 Master Grade kits ever released.
Oh no!
And they actually show it, and it's really cool the way it all looks. So, and it's just showing all the different merchandise. And lastly, in the game news front, there's just a new SD Gundam Capsule Fighter game that came out for Hong Kong and Japan. And basically, it's the kind of the celebration of the 20th anniversary of SD Gundam. So. That's about it. Like I said, everything was a little light on the news here. So
Well, it is the beginning of the year.
yes. So, but
I just want to make one quick correction from episode 6 during our anime spotlight of Votomes. I mentioned that the Pales in Files OAV took place before anything else. In fact, it doesn't. It's set after Roots of Ambition. While I was watching it raw, I sort of got the impression that it was jumping back and forth in time between the present and before. That's really not the case. It was just sort of a murky setting that they didn't explain. So if you're going to start watching some Votomes in chronological order, make sure you watch Roots of Ambitions first and then Pales in Files later. So I just wanted to quickly mention that in the news section.
No problem. I'm sure everybody understands, especially with seeing something raw like that.
And so anybody wanting to watch it in chronological order now has the heads up.
Yes. There you go. But like I said, this is episode 7 of Gundam and MAHQ. We'll be back shortly with our segments. You're listening to Gundam and MAHQ.
Shin.
Hello, Ken. How nice to see you again. How have you been?
I've been better. Where's Julia?
She's not here right now. Would you like to leave a message?
Very funny. Afraid I'm not in the mood for your twisted sense of humor. Now, where is she?
I thought you'd ask that question. I wish I knew, Ken. Honestly, I do.
Answer me,
Gun?
damn it.
But then we wouldn't fight, and we're destined to do that!
Huh? Where's that noise coming from?
How could they page me at a time like this?
Hey, ma'am. Who's that in that bed over there?
Nobody, really. Just one of the injured that I'm helping to take care of, that's all.
Let's see.
He's my son, and he's badly injured.
Let's see if you have nothing to hide. Go!
Amuro!
What the hell?
Amuro, wait!
Cost too much to buy another shell.
Amuro!
What's in your head? You'll never feel the same.
It's not right for my son.
Don't let them say I'm bad. Have you guessed my name?
To wave around a gun like that.
I can't believe what you're saying, Mom. You'd rather they got me? Would you prefer that? It's war!
They call me Gun.
You've grown so wild, Amuro. I don't even know you.
Son, Fogo, where have you been, man? You almost gave me a Gundam heart attack. Let me see it.
You're listening to the show that's leaving more spots blown than Arlington Road. That's right. That's Gundam at MAHQ. And in this segment...
What the hell?
He does not. He does not.
I try to. I'm
he
coming
keeps
out
you
of left field.
spontaneous. Yes.
In this segment, we're doing the old standard, and that's reviewing the latest episodes or giving our opinions on the latest episodes of Gundam 00, episodes 9 through 12. If you've been watching, you've probably been either scratching your head or been on the edge of your seat. But a lot of things have happened in these few 4 episodes, and I'm sure our opinions will differ on it, and yours will too. But so is life. But anyway, I guess we'll start with episode 9 of Gundam 00. Or 00 as it's I guess truly called. Operation. No, I take that back. Episode 9 is A Powerful Nation's Dignity, and in this episode, Chris, if you wanted to, I guess, give an overview of what happened in this ep.
Basically, what we got here is Sergei's clever plan to discover the Ptolemaios by having all of these like thousands of little sentinels across space, because It's pretty clever because the GN particles disrupt radar. So if you find an area where the radar is being disrupted, obviously there's something there disrupting it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So he sort of went around the problem out of the box and went at it backwards.
Yeah.
And so he deploys thousands of these little probes, and some of them get set off, and there's disruptions. So boom, there's the Ptolemaeus, and then he gets his crew together, and they go out and attack.
Yeah, and then we get to see what's his face, Hallelujah, become like the most sadistic person I've ever seen.
Well, on top.
Well, that's episode 10.
Yeah,
episode 10.
Episode 10. That's right.
Because it ends with episode 9 ends with the cliffhanger of
that's right.
Hallelujah
yeah.
and Soma meeting up, and that's when he starts having the headaches again.
Yeah.
But there was some important things in this episode. Number one, there was this one scene where Lock-On's talking to Felt, and he reveals to her his real name and a little bit about his background, that his parents were both killed in a terrorist bomb in Ireland.
Oh.
And she reveals that both her parents were Gundam Meisters and that they're both dead.
And what about in the beginning when they dropped the bomb on you that he's a twin?
Yeah, he's got this brother who some people have taken to calling Rock On.
Rock On.
For lack of since he has no name otherwise.
But I mean, yeah, it was like, I mean, the show hit you over the head with that right in the beginning. It's like, man, and then they let it go. It's like you didn't find anything else more about it. I believe he said something along the lines of he must have come here, or
Yeah, because he went to go put flowers, and there were already flowers there.
Yeah,
exactly.
At the cemetery.
And we don't even know the significance of the grave. I'm sure it's someone that was dear to him, maybe a family member.
Well, it's probably his parents.
His parents,
probably
yeah.
so.
Because his parents were killed in a terrorist bomb by the IRA.
He's starting to remind me a lot of what's his name, Roby Aloy from Roby Aloy from Gundam X.
Kind of.
Oh yeah.
He's sort of the
kind of. I mean, granted, he's not
sort of the ladies' man who has a little bit of like sadness behind him, behind all that. It's sort of like all of a cover.
Kind of the tragic figure.
Yeah, and Lock-On covers it up by being like the nice guy.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, so far he still seems to be the most centered out of all of them, but but it wasn't
as in the least insane.
The least insane, but we know he harbors a great disdain towards terrorists. So, that I guess that was seen in the last episode before that. But he just doesn't tolerate that crap because it's affected his life so much.
Yeah.
Even though technically speaking,
he is one
himself, and that's sort of the line there.
Exactly. I mean, it is ironic that he is one, but at the same time, I guess he feels justified because he knows he's not terrorizing the actual
innocent
masses.
People.
He's fighting combatants basically. So
yeah.
But it was nice to see the heart he had felt too. I thought that was really cool. Plus, you found out her parents were Gundam Meisters. So
it also,
which I'm sure will be explored in one of the side stories.
Yeah, and I'm sure it also
that seems like perfect side story fodder.
Yeah, it raises that question of how long, because this is something I was talking to Soul Bro about. Was like how long. I'm sure we're going to find out that these Gundams are probably interfering with stuff for a long time. Just nobody really knew or could identify them. Or live to say it, because that was actually kind of a shocking thing for me to see that she, unless they were just flat out test pilots. That's
true.
The only other thing.
Well, they had to be because, if you remember, the very first episode showed us that they were around in the past. The O Gundam that appeared in the Kurdish Republic and saved Setsuna.
Yeah.
That was 6 years before the start of the series. So, and then the side stories. One of them is set, I believe, 15 years before the start of 00, and you have Gundam Meisters there. So you have this organization that's been around for 200 years in the shadows.
Yeah.
They've been doing things here and there that nobody just put the pieces together before now.
Well, yeah, it was a pretty good episode, which kind of led us into episode 10.
Episode 10, which is a direct continuation, practically.
Yes.
And
it's Hallelujah the Bastard.
Exactly. But before that, it kicked off with my man Shachi Crossroad. Wasn't he cooking? And he was getting chewed up by the future mother-in-law, and I know you hate him, but that's
I don't hate him, but I really hope that the time wasted on him becomes something vauyable, because
of course it will be.
This guy getting pushed around by this girl and his mother is just terrible.
I'll comment on him when we get to episode 12, because some weird stuff going on in episode 12.
But
he's getting a swerve on with mom, but we'll keep that.
He's turning into Dustin Hoffman. It's like, wait a second, I'm watching The Graduate?
Yes, pretty much. But no, it was kind of interesting because now we get to see that Well, we thought maybe in the first like 5 episodes, Setsuna was the most screwed up one. Oh, no. Jeez.
He's starting to pale in comparison.
God,
Not in the slightest.
He seems like a very well-adjusted young man compared to these other two. Oh, my God.
Well, I mean, I had speculated one thing. Going into episode, I think the first hint in episode 10, when I guess a major event happened in episode 10 where it was revealed that the G005 was hiding a actual other Gundam underneath it, and what was the name of that?
A skinny Gundam cosplaying as a fat
Yeah.
one.
Yes, pretty much.
The Gundam Natalie.
Natalie, thank you. They got liposuction that episode, and it revealed itself with a new hairdo. Of course, those are the cables keeping all the armor and the significant pieces to make it the 005 in place. But I when I saw that episode, I noticed that his eyes
they glowed,
or they had kind of an unnaturalness to it, and and I at that point I in my mind I thought that he might not be human. He may not be human at all. The way he comes off, how he's straight by the book, he just he takes no shortcuts with anything.
Yeah, but you know what though? Actually, something in episode 12 kind of circumvents that.
Yeah. Well, does it really? I mean,
But on here, it was. I mean, it was. You kind of see that he's a real cold and merciless person, but nothing as bad as Hallelujah.
There's definitely something about Terria, because in episode 11, when he's floating in that weird computer sphere and he's like eavesdropping on Sumeragi and Hallelujah, his eyes are glowing there too.
Yeah. He seems to be the human interface for Vader. If that computer is Vader, we don't even know. But I'm speculating. But he seems to be a human interface for the ship's computer.
There's theories that he is like some kind of android interface with Veda. Or some people have said that he could be a clone of Aeolia Shenberg. I really don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got no opinion on him because he's just a complete mystery.
I do think that he'll become less of a hard ass though as the series progresses. But maybe I'm off, or maybe he may become more more fanatical about it. I don't know, but we start off hating him.
I think there's some signs of that in episode 11 of him kind of mellowing out a little bit because he finds out Alleluia's secret, and then when they go to attack the space colony, he's mumbling something like, "Oh, he's gonna go. Alleluia's gonna go fix the past and take care of it because that's what a Gundam Meister would do." And he actually seems kind of like proud there for a second. I guess maybe now that he understands the situation, his thoughts about Alleluia have changed, and he doesn't think that Alleluia is unfit to be a Meister anymore.
I guess he's disconnecting himself from the past finally, and it's I guess his own way of catharsis when it comes to dealing with his issue. But I still have my my worries about Alleluia after he did what he did, and that was episode 11 when he
blew up the enhanced human lab.
Exactly. Yep. It was nice to see the inside of a colony in that episode too.
Yep.
And the way they shot the scene they drew the scene where when he went inside, you saw it from the perspective of the suit itself, where the world, the colony itself was spinning around him as he entered the gravity well of it. And it was a neat perspective. And then him debating with himself towards the end, where he had that psychotic episode where he's just pointing the gun at himself and the two sides of himself, and eventually he just.
I thought that was great the way they had that, and he doesn't want to shoot, and Alleluia's like, do it, and then he just goes berserk and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs and starts shooting out those missiles, and you see the building explode, and the way the Curio sort of like transforms and sort of like falters a little bit as it flies away.
Exactly.
I thought that was a very well done scene.
He's the Harvey Dent of Gundam.
Well, I mean, it's actually nice to see.
I never thought I'd hear those two words in the same sentence.
Exactly.
It's actually nice to see one of these guys now have like a true problem, instead of just like not getting along with their parents.
Yeah.
Because in most Gundam, it's like I just don't get along with my parents. But this one, he was a screwed up guy, and you want to do what's right, but when it was interesting that they just had him as he's sitting there and he's wanting to do this. He's thinking back, and you can almost hear these kids saying, "Don't kill us, don't kill us." But the other part of him brought up a good point. What are you going to let them live? What are they going to become?
Yeah.
Just you?
You can't take care of them.
So,
I mean, they're just going to become another mistake. Like he doesn't see himself too highly, so he probably sees himself as a bastard of science and and the military, and these kids are going to turn out the same way. That girl is going to turn out the same way. Was it Soma Paris?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that yet, but I mean that's in his mind. She's just another loose end to tie up. I mean, after destroying the source of the problem, now he's going to specifically go after her. But I will say this: in that episode when he tortured that guy before he killed him, the young lieutenant,
in episode 10.
That was the most sadistic thing I'd ever seen in Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh yeah.
In any series, period. It had my hair standing on end, and just watching that, it's like, wow, it was a way to capture that maniacal side of him.
And he's melting the poor guy, and it's like, man, this guy just like is really going overboard.
Neil, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it just solidified my theory that he's going to be the first one to die.
You think so?
And have a really bad death. Because
Karma?
He kind of really deserves it. But yeah, I thought that was pretty sadistic, and I mean, it was pretty sick. And I don't think it was, it was. I think of Gundam, it was probably one of the most kind of sickening things and most kind of worst deaths that you could have. But
it was it was a great way to capture the horror of being in that position. I mean, it's like when you think of Bernie from 0080.
Hamburgers.
I was like, exactly, and that was quick. He wasn't tortured. This poor guy was put through the ringer and then finally put out of his misery. And it's like, dude, how could he do that to him? I mean, he was frying in his seed. It's like when you'd see those grunts die in seed, where they get
when they got microwaved with the Cyclops.
Yeah.
And they got fat and exploded.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
But I mean, it's definitely now. What was also great in these, especially in I think 10 and 11, is you start seeing the UN come in,
exactly.
And I think that guy that's the long-haired guy with the UN,
Alejandro, who's always having a drink with that kid in a room somewhere.
Yeah, really weird. But I'm kind of and within that brings us to episode 12 where Ajistan gets attacked and they're having the revolt because the religious leader got kidnapped, and which brought some interesting things, because that brought a lot of parallels to today's world, especially because the guy's name was
Masood, yeah.
And that's the name of the guy that got killed the day before 9/11 in Afghanistan.
That's right.
And that guy looks very much like he looks like he's modeled after Bin Laden, and he's got kind of the same take as Bin Laden with being pissed that the Ajistan is bringing in basically non-believers and stuff. But
and in the same breath though, he's kind of playing a necessary evil, a devil's advocate role.
Yeah.
Because he knows if he doesn't do it, someone worse than someone who's gonna want to just do rampant,
blow shit up.
Exactly, is going to take over, and they're not going to have a set plan. He's actually looking to boost Marina's attention to Marina, and have her emerge as the leader of the nation. But he's got to do it through taking the worst route possible, which is to be her opposition.
I think it's interesting the way that they're showing the show, though, is right now I'm kind of believing that Alejandro is Veda. Because the whole way that he was acting when he's like, well, let's see how this plays out. They're evacuating everybody out of this country because this country's, basically melting down because the ultra-conservatives have infiltrated the army, and they're doing, they're basically doing the old the old Rockefeller switch that they did, and
the Rockefeller
and Gundam
Foundation.
Wing. It's like beep, 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 But I thought that was kind of funny. But, I almost kind of feel that he might be either Veda or he's part of Celestial Being, because he definitely...
Oh, he is. That's been shown since the beginning.
Yeah,
because he knows all these things.
But,
I just think he's just some weird guy who likes to watch things happen. Have drinks with...
Be with children?
I don't know why, but the only person who drinks more in this show than that guy is Sumeragi.
Yes, indeed.
And that was interesting, too, that whole exchange with Sumeragi and Hallelujah, especially, she okayed, Hallelujah brought that plan to attack the new Type base.
Hallelujah, that's right, because Hallelujah is his...
Hallelujah would rape her or something.
He would not be as civil.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Hallelujah and Hallelujah, I'm sorry. But I'm getting confused now. But I thought that was kind of cool. And then you have her whole thing of, he comes back to her and starts speaking after he turned 20 and he wanted a drink. And, basically, it'll be interesting to see what her what her past is, because it's she basically verified she drinks to forget.
On top of that, she remembered the tactic that Sergei used.
Mm-hmm.
She remembered the tactic that Sergei used. It makes you wonder if she was actually there the first time he used it.
Well,
or
yeah,
was involved
I
somehow.
don't think so. She would have been too young. But
yeah, that's what I was
since
thinking.
she's a tactician, she would obviously study famous battles.
Famous battles,
but,
exactly.
What I want to know is, when they mentioned earlier on her meeting with Billy, and the fact that she knew that Professor Eichmann, there was some kind of thing that went down with all of them that even Graham, he doesn't know what the details are, but he knows that something happened.
Exactly.
And that's, I think, seems to be at the center of all of her boozing.
Mm-hmm.
But a closing comment on episode 12, I think it's very interesting that both the rebels in the Azatistan army who were attacking the solar energy antenna, and even the kidnapping of Masood, it's all orchestrated by Ali.
Yes,
very much so. And he's playing power moves in the background. I would like a quick comment on that nice three-way battle between him and Graham and of course my man Lock-On towards the end of that episode. Oh, that was just a great exchange. But you can see that Ali is starting to manipulate things if he hadn't already been manipulating things in the background for a while. But
well, he was, because
it was actually
in episode I think 7, he knew in advance that those terrorist bombings were going to happen.
Exactly.
Which makes you wonder if he was the one who set them up as a way to distract the Gundams and make them stop what they were doing.
Yeah.
Which obviously it didn't, but he's in on this, and my question, which I put in the review, is he just doing this for money because war is good for business, or does he have some political motivation in this too?
That's very true.
That's kind of been my question throughout with the whole thing, is all the factions, because it definitely seems that everybody keeps talking about money, and money being a big deciding factor, and money and power. And that's definitely something that's going on all sides. And I even think to Celestial Being too. They're not necessarily trying to do stuff on a money aspect, but they're definitely trying to do it on power.
Exactly.
They're trying to influence things. But it's been a pretty interesting show. I like what they're doing. I like the big kind of political web that they're weaving. It's something. And as I'm noticing these episodes, it seems like the mobile suit battles are becoming less and less.
And there's more story being
a lot more story
shown and displayed. But that still doesn't bring the emphasis down on the battles. The battles are
not at all.
Yeah, they're so well directed too. I have to really give it up to the director and the people who lay out the storyboards, because just the way that they detail the fights, and just the developments that happen in them, and the angles they draw everything. And I love the cinematic look of the show. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the most cinematic Gundam I've seen since X.
Right.
Yeah, X was another show that was really cinematic.
One last thing is, I like the fact now that we're starting to see that the Gundam Meisters have weaknesses, that they're not the all-powerful fighters. So that was nice. Lock-On is definitely, he cannot be in a melee battle.
He can't.
And he cannot be in a close combat battle. And Satsuna is just basically just trying to overpower everything. And
his rashness is his weakness, pretty much.
Pretty much, but so
now I guess to close, before we close off Double O discussion for this month, I guess we're gonna have to talk about Saji, so especially in episode 12. So Adam, do you want to tell us about your man Saji?
Yes.
Oh, my man Saji, he's winning them over. He won the opposition
hearts and minds,
man. He turned the other cheek
with pizza.
With the crazy mother?
Especially since we're coming into MLK Day. Just want to let you know that Saji Crossroad has taken that doctrine and just run with it, and he made
having
that
a dream.
He made that dinner. Yeah, he has a dream of just being cool.
Well, here's my theory.
He's not there yet, but he's getting there.
I just hope that you're correct, that he is going to be some part of the story, because it sure is not becoming that way.
To me, it's like the Arthurian. It's the Arthurian legend, pretty much. I mean, King Arthur wasn't Jack in the beginning. I mean, granted, I don't expect to become king, but he started out.
What's your take on this, Chris?
Go ahead, Chris.
It's something that occurred to me while making a post in the Double O thread on Mecha Talk. About what exactly is the point of Saji, because Kinoue, she at least has a point. She's investigating Celestial Being, and she's trying to track them down.
Right.
Exactly.
So the thought occurred to me, because, he said to her a few episodes ago, I wonder what our parents would think if they were alive. I said to myself, well, what if they are alive?
Right.
Because we've got this thread that Kinoue is investigating of scientists who have disappeared over the last 200 years.
Correct.
What if Saji's parents, who we know nothing about, were maybe actually important people, and maybe they faked their deaths to go off and be part of Celestial Being, and maybe they are alive and are with Celestial Being right now, and we haven't seen them.
That would be one hell of a plot twist.
That I actually think would be more plausible at this point than him joining the fight, because that guy...
it especially occurred to me after the Revenant Felt's parents were Gundam Meisters.
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe, Saji's and Kinoue's were, because, as she mentioned, it's very secretive. All she knows is that they died. She doesn't even know how they died.
Right.
She just knows that they're dead. So, that got me to thinking, well, maybe Saji and Kinoue's parents are part of Celestial Being.
Yeah,
and if they are, then that would make Saji at least relevant.
I suppose it would, unless his sister's the relevant point, and she may end up becoming another victim, and then he may stand up. Then I don't know. I mean, granted, she's investigating.
He can't even stand up. He can't even stand up to Luis's mother.
Well, he has a roundabout way about it. I mean, he could be confrontational.
Pizza.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He could be confrontational and end up being permanent enemies, or he can do he could take the other route. Anyway, that's run off into other venues that we'll save for another time.
He's slowly becoming the worst part of the show.
Awesome. I'm glad you think so.
Okay, that's enough of Saji Crossroad for this month. So
we filled our quota. But anyway, that brings our 00 segment to an end. In about a month, we'll have another 4 episodes reviewed. Episode 13 just premiered this weekend, so we'll get to checking that out this week. But thank you. Thank you for joining us on this segment, and we'll be back in just a few moments. You're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Did you order the code red? Gundam right I did!
Look at that!
This is Soul Bro Review, and when you have a free moment, check out these cool websites. MAHQ.net. And that stands for the Mecha and Anime Headquarters. They have information and reviews on a variety of animes, as well as specs on Mecha from your favorite series. Check out the forums and see what the regulars are saying about Mobile Suit Gundam 00. AEUG.blogspot.com. And that website is Ganada. And that's your #1 news site for all things Gundam. But watch out for those spoilers on Gundam 00 though. www.myspace.com/FTS Shinjuku. And that's for the podcast that started it all. Flip the script. Anime, video games, movies, TV, and music are a few of the subjects that are tossed about in a roundtable discussion by 6 very different individuals. Boy Wonder, Dr. Encyclopedia Black, Lee Majors, and Shoji Romuro, as well as the host of Gundam, Neo Lorinoke, and Sobro Ryu. GundamOfficial.com. That's Gundam OFFICIAL.com. And that's for the official website of Gundam, of course. It's managed by the guru of Gundam himself, Mark Simmons. For those who had missed out on Simmons' mega fan site and extensive wiki of mobile suits in the late 90s, labeled the Gundam Project, now's your chance to see the second coming of it at GundamOfficial.com. www.myspace.com/Gundam the show. That's GUNDAMN the show. And last but not least is the website for the unofficial podcast for all things Gundam and Mecha, Gundam. Check us out on MySpace, and if you're a member, add us as a friend and give us your opinions on the Mecha series you enjoy. Peep these cool websites when you get a minute. Now, back to
Gundam. Damn!
And welcome back to Gundam and MAHQ. This is one of your hosts, Neo, and we're actually going to have some excitement. It's always exciting in Mecha Land when we get a new show, and especially when we get a new show that's actually maybe a sequel or a continuation of an old favorite. And this week actually gave us, I guess it's kind of a sneak preview, but not. It's first sneak preview, first episode, whatever we could kind of say of the new Macross show, which is called Macross Frontier. It was, I don't know when it comes on in Japan, but I guess it was this week, and it was actually kind of interesting. And what we're going to do is just kind of quickly go over some of our thoughts and some impressions of the first episode. Chris, I guess you were saying earlier when we were talking before the recording of the show that the show is going to actually start in April. And yeah, this was more of kind of like a teaser kind of
it was
introduction to the thing.
It was a Christmas special. It was part of a hour-long 25th anniversary special aired in Japan like right before Christmas. So I didn't see the anniversary special, but I'm assuming it was a retrospective on the show, followed up then by the special deculture edition of Frontier Episode 1. So based on the running time, it's going to be a bit longer than what the actual airing version is, since it's 27 minutes, no opening but an ending. So that right there is longer than your typical show. So
and I love that ending.
I'm guessing this will be on the DVD as the longer version.
Yeah. Now, will they replay this, or is there going to be another episode, like a normal-sized episode 1 for the initial release?
We don't know yet, but given the 4-month time difference, I'd assume that they would probably air the first episode again, but cut down.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. I guess the first thing is, Sobro, your first impression on this, being a Macross fan.
Oh, man, and Macross is where I got my teeth cut on, the original show. But watching Macross Frontier, I was a little questionable at first about how it would play out, because I haven't seen Macross 7, or that's I think the only other Macross series I haven't seen. And I want to see it, but I've been hesitant to see it because it seems to be kind of offbeat. But getting on to Macross Frontier, I was afraid it would be kind of the same kind of offbeat show. But it's kind of like they took the theme of Macross, where you have a ship with a city inside of it. This time an island, and the island seems to have like different parts of different major cities in the world, kind of like themes based on.
It's like the West Coast and Japan.
You have like San Francisco, Shibuya, and Tokyo, and I'm sure there's other sectors. I mean, exploring that city is going to be an awesome part of that show, and exactly seeing what kinds of city themes they have of based on real cities in the world. And when you get to see more of the episodes of the show and the layout of the whole ship, but watching the show, being introduced to the characters, I could see some of the characters were reflections of some characters in the past.
Reflections?
Yeah. Some were different. Like
now this is
the girl
it was based in 2059.
2059.
So how long would that be from the last
50
Macross?
years from the first series.
What about from
it's 50 years from the first series and 14 years after Macross 7.
Okay. That's
which coincidentally is it in real time it has been 14 years since Macross 7 started airing, so sort of a little interesting coincidence.
Okay.
Or not.
Exactly. But it is possible to. I was thinking that it might be possible in the future episodes you actually may see some reoccurring characters from Macross, because space folding is like traveling through time, which means some characters don't age, may have not aged as long, or as old as maybe some characters who stayed on Earth.
That sounds like a fanboy's dream.
Yeah, it does. It does, and I'm the biggest fanboy in the room.
Well, everybody. Speaking of fanboys. Well, the thing about space folding is they're not space folding all the time. They're usually just traveling in normal space. And one thing that fanboys have been wanting to see for forever is finding out what happened to the Mega Road 1 with Hikaru Chijo and Lin Min Mei and Misa Hayase.
That's true.
From what I understand, Kawamori has said for many years that their story is over.
Wow.
And he tends to not come back to these things over. Yeah, in Macross 7 he used, Max and Milia and Exidal.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, they weren't the stars of the show. They were just sort of there in the background. And then in Zero he brought back Roy Fokker, but he wasn't the star of that either. So
and that was a prequel anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, as a prequel. So I would tend to take him at his word that that he's done with that story. And also, I don't know how big of a factor this might play, but the fact that Hikaru's actor has been dead for like 10 years.
Yeah, it's that
might be something. So he's been recast for video games, but the fact that they've never had Hikaru in an anime again might tie into that. So everybody wants to know what happened to the Mega Road because they got lost in space and yada yada. And interestingly, in this very neat opening sequence at the beginning of Macross Frontier. They show
I was about to say
all
that.
the fleets coming out of like Earth and all these other planets. So
Mm-hmm.
you get to see like the colonization of Eden from Macross Plus. You see all these fleets
Exactly.
spreading out, and like you see like the arm of the galaxy with all these fleets going in every direction. And one of them you see going off on its own is the Mega Road 1.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think that's just there as just a nod to it, but I don't think we're ever going to see the Mega Road 1. I mean, if it hasn't been in something at this point, I don't think it's ever going to be in anything.
And it'd actually be kind of nice if they just kind of left those things alone.
That's true. I mean,
But-
I would like to see some kind of connection between, even if it's small, some kind of connection between the original series and this
Oh,
one.
believe me, it's got plenty of connections.
Well, it
but,
does. It does.
Chris, what were kind of your takes, impressions of this first episode of Macross Frontier?
Well, basically, like I said in my review, it's sort of a combination.
And hold on, always catch all of Chris's reviews on MAHQ.net.
That's right.
Sir.
Thanks for the shameless plugging.
Yes.
I think people know what the address of the website is by now.
We hope.
We hope. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time.
Exactly.
And we will beat a dead horse.
Anyway, it's sort of a combination of the first episode of Macross 7 and of the original series, because Macross 7 was also, about a space fleet that gets attacked by mysterious aliens, and Macross 7 had the same style of ship of a domed city, and you have that element, and then you have, the rookie pilot type guy who gets caught up in it and is forced to act. So I think it's a pretty standard, as far as the plot goes, first episodes, but I gave it 4 stars nonetheless for a couple of reasons. Number one,
Go ahead.
animation doesn't really factor into my ratings. I can forgive horrible animation as long as it's good, but man, the animation was beautiful in this. I mean, it looked like OVA quality.
Oh,
Was
the fight
it?
scenes were amazing.
It looked OVA quality.
How many episodes is this show slated for? Is that still undetermined?
From the rumors I hear, about 26.
Okay.
Which, with a budget like this, I don't see how this
Yeah.
could be 50. Because
Sick.
even
That's what
Double
I
O
was-
doesn't have some visuals that compare to this.
Not at all.
Double O's visuals have actually kind of come down last few episodes, I've noticed. But
That's
other
when
than
that's
that,
when they subcontract episodes out to other studios. But yeah.
Number 2, I lost my train of thought.
sorry.
Oh yeah, even though the story was fairly standard, it was still interesting nonetheless, because you have these very powerful, weird alien mecha attacking, and as some people have pointed out, the weird markings on these aliens match markings on the weird floating rocks from the Mayan island in Macross Zero. So there could very well be a connection there. You've got the fact that the idol Cheryl Gnome, her name is Gnome, which you had in Macross Zero, Sarah and Mao Gnome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
she might be related to them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was very interesting was that the Frontier president, he already knew about these aliens in advance, because he says, oh, they're finally here.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
So he knows something
is
that
true.
the military doesn't.
Right.
And Sharon seemed like she knew too.
Cheryl.
Who?
Cheryl,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't seem like any coincidence that they appear right after she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will give the main character this. He did point out something about her that I thought was true. Maybe she had her reasons of departing, but comparing her with Min May, which is eventually going to happen. Min May would have stayed and tried to rally everybody, to do something, but she was quick to break out.
Well,
or they were quick to kind of escort her out, which makes sense because it is a emergency situation, but they may have had their reasons. But
here's the
I didn't.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead.
Here's the thing. She was being dragged off the stage by a nuns officer, which is new UN Spacey, so she didn't go because she wanted to. She has a military escort, which is really weird. Why does a pop singer have a military escort with her? And why are they dragging her away into a limo with armed guards? What is so special about her that she has a military escort? I mean, you don't see like army officers hanging around Britney Spears.
Right. Well, you might,
So-
but not for those reasons.
Not for those.
Yeah.
This is not Britney Spears at MAHQ.
Ew.
Exactly.
So,
But
yeah, there's a lot of mystery here, but despite the fact that it's sort of a standard opening for a Macross show, it was really exciting, and that's what I think was the most outstanding part of it. That
I second that, and the second half of that episode was straight candy for me as I'm watching it. I mean, just to see that one scene where the one Veritech pilot tries to fight that alien and gets completely punked.
I'm sorry, did you say Veritech?
Yeah, I mean the man gets reduced to sauce.
I'm sorry, but you said Veritas.
I am so sorry. A Valkyrie.
I don't care,
Valkyrie.
but there are some people out there that
deserve a slap.
That are militant about that stuff. So.
Yeah, but please forgive me, listeners. I did not mean to say Veritech.
I liked the way that they had their pilot suits are the
flying suits.
Are the smaller suits. I thought that was really cool. But I guess my thing on it, and I'm glad you kind of brought this up, Chris. If I was to rate it on your rating scale, I'd probably give it maybe between a 3 and a 3.5.
Really?
Because the problem I had was because of the standard opening. And I think to an extent, watching 00 right now has kind of screwed me up. Because I can see that there are people with newer ideas when it comes to mecha, the mecha genre.
Yep.
And I think that 00 is a great reimagining of a Gundam show, but I think there was too many. It was just like too much there for a minute. The girl Naka that works at Luca that works at
Renka.
What was it?
Renko.
I was trying to remember what it was. Her brother's a pilot, and he's basically got a
Roy Fokker.
Yeah, he's Roy Fokker.
Yes,
He's in Skull Squadron.
He's got the but it's the Skeleton Bull Squadron. Same colors and everything. Yeah, because he had a skeleton's a bull skull.
Yeah, I remember
on his helmet. So that was way too predictable. The whole thing at the end with the main character, his flight suit,
we knew that
being but I'm kind of tired of the guys going in and oh my god, now I know how to fly something that's a military secret, because those Valkyries were more advanced than the other Valkyries.
Granted, he pulled a Camille, and he's a Homo Alvis champion,
God.
but
He also put a Camille in with his.
Well, this guy wasn't even a Homo Alvis champion. He was a Homo Alvis photographer. He was at the concert just to do headshots. He's the Goodyear blimp.
In defense, this is a reintroduction of Macross, just like Gundam C was a reintroduction of Gundam, where the same thing happened.
Yeah, but
Kira got fate.
I understand that,
got
but
Akira to the strike, and he got the pilot, and he was just good with machines and all that other BS.
Yeah, but I just think it's one. I think it's just one. You can. It seems a little lack of imagination when it comes to getting him to become the pilot of Valkyrie. Granted,
I'll agree.
The productions were great.
Mm-hmm.
The fight scenes were amazing. I noticed that thing that Chris had mentioned earlier too with the monsters.
Yeah.
They did look a lot like they had those weird markings, and they almost look like some of those monsters that were in Macross Zero. But
I need to see all of that.
But man, I could not. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, and I think 00 has done it because it shows that the mech genre can go to a different degree and introduce a pilot and introduce a circumstance in a different way than just going to the old cliche. Well, they left the keys in the ignition. I know how to do the smaller version of this, and oh god, now
we got
on
that
the ace. But
I mean, in Kawamori's defense, we got that with Zero, and we got that with Macross Plus.
Well, but Shin in Zero was already
exactly.
Yeah, he was a pilot.
That's pretty much my point. It wasn't that fate threw a mech his way. It's just that he was already a trained pilot, just like Shin and Destiny are the characters in Macross Plus. They were already trained. They were test pilots, but they knew what they were doing. But it may seem a bit far fetched, but and we've been down this road before. But at least he has some kind of idea of what he's doing.
No, I mean I think the show's gonna end up being a good show. I don't know. I think it's just my tastes are changing where it's some of these newer shows. Like I don't mind it watching older shows, but some of these newer shows, I mean, I think we can go beyond the keys left in the ignition. I know how to start it up.
Well,
kind of thing.
Here's something that might give you a different perspective on it, especially with 00. 00 was the 11th Gundam show, which has been continuously in production for almost 30 years, whereas Frontier is only the 3rd Macross TV show in 25 years.
Wow, I understand.
So I would say as far as the Macross universe goes, the formula is not quite so dusty yet. And another thing is, as I would caution everybody, this is still just the first episode, because the opposite of that is I saw a whole bunch of comments on live journals and forums of people that I know and all these other places, right after the episode aired, the people were already saying, oh, this first episode of Macross Frontier is better than all 12 episodes of 00 so far. I saw that comment a lot, which I really can't agree with, because how can you compare one episode of one show to 12 episodes of another show that still isn't even done yet and is still airing?
What burns me is that you can't compare the two. Macross is a completely different formula. Granted, they both involve mecha and they both involve melodramatic characters, but for the most part, Macross is a very music-heavy show, first of all, while Gundam is not. And Macross love has always been a big theme, while in Gundam it's always been about war and conflict and how it affects the human condition. So I mean, that's two different genre, well, the same genre, but two different environments entirely. I don't know how people can just compare one with the other and just make blanket statements like that. It just doesn't make sense to me. But
well, like I said, I mean, that's just my impression, and that it's still a 3 or 3.5 on a scale of 5 is still a pretty good rating.
So you're pretty much,
and I'm still very much open for the rest of the show. Yeah. I just felt that based on what's out there now, I thought it would be a little nicer if they did something outside the norm, but I completely understand why they did it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the show.
For a pilot episode, though, I think it was.
Oh, it was a good. No, it was definitely a great episode.
I'd have to give it a 4, personally, but
we'll see.
One thing I'm a little cautious about, though, is Shoji Kawamori, because most of his recent shows, they just have had, at some point he has to throw in this hippie tree hugging, Earth is great, defend the environment. Well, Escaflowne didn't really do it, but you watch shows like Earth Meeting Arjuna, and then you got Macross Zero. It's just oh my god, it's just so pedantic. It's like, oh, it's like, am I watching an anime or am I watching Captain Planet?
Yeah,
You don't need to beat it over my head. Oh, the environment's so precious, and mankind's destroying the environment, and please just stop it. So far, we haven't gotten that in Frontier, but this is still the beginning, so
we still have many episodes, and that was the one thing that hurt Macross Zero. As much as I like that show, those middle episodes there, it was just like, wait a second, I realize I can watch TV, I know what's going on with the world, I don't need to, let's get back to the story here.
I mean, well,
yeah, it's once burned, twice shy, because Macross Zero started off so well with that gorgeous CG for the time, and that battle between the the F-14 and then you see the VF-0 and the SV-51. It's just like, oh my god, that's amazing. And then all of the weird, funky, magical stuff starts happening, and then it just sort of spatters off to some end somewhere.
Yeah, but well, I guess that's kind of our opinions, thoughts, impressions of the first episode of Macross Frontier. It'll be coming out in April. I'm sure we'll get some more we'll pass on more information as we get it, and like always, check out Chris's reviews of Macross Frontier and other things on MAHQ.net. So we'll be back. This is Gundam at MAHQ.
You want your damn $30 back? I want my kidney back!
One day, an Autobot will rise from our ranks and use the power of the Matrix to light our darkest hour.
I fear the wounds are fatal.
Gundam.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gundam at MAHQ. This time we're going to hit up what's no doubt going to be a controversial topic, the bald wizard himself, Yoshiyuki Tomino. And since this is such a large topic, we're going to split it up in two. So this episode we're going to talk about Tomino as far as his Gundam works go, and then in episode 8 we're going to discuss all of his non-Gundam works. So what we decided to do was we're going to highlight some of our likes and dislikes about his directorial style, and we're going to cite specific examples from a couple of shows. So I guess I'll get started, and I'll kick it off with one of the things that he's most well known for, which is being Kill 'Em All Tomino.
Oh.
So reportedly, and actually I have read this in interviews, he did an interview in America ages ago, I think back in 1992, and the reason that he cited for killing off the cast of entire shows at various points is because he said he didn't want to be locked into doing sequels to those shows. So he would just kill off everybody.
Jeez.
Hence
I mean,
Zeta.
Hence the... Well... Zeta comes off pretty light in comparison to some other things.
That is
If
true.
you watch Idian or Dunbine...
Well, yes.
Oh.
But we were being Gundam specific, though.
Oh, that's next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, you raised a good
we'll
point.
get to that next time. I mean, you look at Zeta, Camille's lucky that he came out with his brain fried.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, but let's talk about the deaths. And since that's something that he's very well known for, some people died in the original series, but it's in Zeta that he really starts doing it a lot, and he mainly does it towards the end. And I think this was due out of all of the reworking that was going into Double Zeta, because originally, as we all know, Double Zeta was going to be the second season of Zeta,
right,
and be a lot more of a direct continuation. And I actually have here a translation of the original ZZ outline done by RGZ91 over at Ganoda Headlines. So if we briefly go over it for a minute, it'll highlight some of the differences, because there's a lot of stuff that changed. As we all know, Char was going to appear in the show, and originally he was going to lead the rebellion against Haman instead of Glemmy, but then that got all changed when they made Char's counterattack.
Oh yeah, for Double Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Double Zeta. God,
Double
what am I saying?
You got too much Double Zero on the brain. And one of the things that was very different in ZZ was that Emma survived into ZZ.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Judo, rather than being with all of the lollies like Plea, actually was into older chicks like Emma.
What?
Yeah. Very, very different. And
Wow.
she ended up dying somewhere in the middle of the original ZZ outline. But then when all these plans changed, Tomino just decided to go and kill her off in Zeta, along with most of the other Zeta cast.
What a shame.
So, what a shame. So it would have been interesting to see her show up there, but at the same time, her big thing was fighting against the Titans. So now that the Titans are destroyed, where do you go with her character?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, I think there might have been a little bit of room for development, but
Probably. I think there would have been, but,
like
I guess that was
Bright's
probably
been
the way
around
he
all
looked
this
at it.
time.
Well, because he's Bright. He's the invincible Bright. You can't do
That's
anything
right.
except put chickens on his head.
That is true.
So what I thought, what bothered me a little bit about Zeta was the way that everybody, whether they're a good guy or bad guy, pretty much survived until the end, and then suddenly in the last 5 episodes they all just start dropping like flies. And in Victory, I think he handles it a lot better, because there's a death in that show, but it's spread out starting at the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you have a lot of people dying throughout the entire show. And notice, up until the end, more of the good guys are dying than the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because a lot of bad guys survive until the very end, and then they all start dying off. But you have a lot of good guys dying off throughout the course of the show, which sort of lends to that atmosphere of hopelessness that show has.
Yeah, and I think what the nice thing about with some of the deaths that he does, he really has some imagination on how to kill people, because that really,
such as,
yeah, I mean it was just probably one of the funnier deaths was Jared Messis.
He got thrown into the radish in mid-sentence.
He basically got knocked into an asteroid and went into and got killed that way instead of actually being killed by Camille. I thought was kind of funny. There's a lot of irony.
He got thrown into the radish. You're thinking of Cats. He crashed into the asteroid.
Oh, well,
and then he blew up.
That's right. Yeah, and that was one of the best points of that was one of the best deaths in all of Double Zeta was the death of Kotz.
Regular Zeta, but
Zeta.
Oh. I always found it funny though. I always see a lot of irony in a lot of these characters' deaths. That Tomino, he's got kind of a weird sense of humor on how to kill some of these people. Like with Jared Mesa, with Cats. Even with Emma and some of those people.
That's true.
They had just weird irony, and I thought that was kind of cool. But it is kind of bad though, because there are certain characters that were great, and you wanted to see them move on.
Like Odello.
And some of the deaths were a little senseless.
Remember, case in point, was it episode 36 of Zeta when they introduced that one Titan's character?
Oh yes.
The one that during Char's speech, there was that one Titan that was actually he was kind of borderline between Titan and Federation, or Titan and AU, but he was serving in the Titans, and Jared ends up killing him because he starts voicing his opinion that maybe this war is all for maybe we're fighting for the wrong reasons. And Jared just wipes him out. But that character would have been interesting to see him continue on, maybe join the AU, and then if his chips had to be cashed in, maybe towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
But he seemed like a really interesting character that they could have involved more into the story, and it'd been nice to see him introduced.
Yeah.
But
and on another category, something that Tomino tends to do, which I don't like, is the way that he drops characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is something that happens 3 times alone in Zeta. Number 1, Bascom.
Yes.
You see him in episode 13, and then he just vanishes until I believe episode 39.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, what the hell was this guy doing? I mean, he was introduced. He was such a big player for those first dozen episodes, and he just vanishes. And so does even Jamatov shows up a few times in between then, but Bask, he's just gone.
Yeah.
He
is gone.
You see more of Jamaican than you see of Basque, and it's like I hate Jamaican, but that's a whole nother subject. But you see more of him than you see of Basque, and Basque was a really interesting character. Granted, I'd love to have more of an insight on his 1 year war, time in the 1 year war, and just what made him the monster that he became, but. Yeah, it was kind of strange that he just vanished off the face of the map. And who else?
Rosamia.
What other characters did?
Rosamia,
yes.
She got her ass kicked and her gap plant exploded. And then you don't see her for like 30-something episodes. And when you do see her, she's like even more insane than she was before.
And then that sister angle came out of nowhere, too.
Yes.
Which Camille just like totally fell for, maybe because she was hot and he kept seeing her like topless in the perverted doctor's exam room. I don't know. Some chick came out of nowhere and said she was my sister, and then I'd be like, you sure about that? I don't know. And then another one that just really disappears out of nowhere is Gates Kappa.
Yes.
The Bound Dock pilot who was sort of like, he was, conditioning Rosamia and turning her into Camille's enemy. And then he got his ass kicked, and his Bound Dock just sort of like flies off to the side in space, and you never see what happens to him. He just vanishes. You never find out whether he lived, whether he died, where he went. The guy just totally disappears. And he's only there for a few episodes, but he was there long enough to warrant us finding out what the hell happened to him.
His ultimate fate,
Yeah, that was the big thing. Even Char for a couple episodes is kind of gone. And
well, that's pretty standard fare in Gundam. That like, and that was the formula established in the original series. That you have an enemy ace who appears, and then he's gone for a while, and then he comes back. Every series does that. After that, I mean, with Jared, with Mashima, with Chronicle, with Zex, even up to Destiny. I mean, every show has done that. That you have an enemy ace that is there for alternating times, so that he's not there the whole series and becomes annoying.
Yeah, that's true.
So that happens in it. That's become a Gundam staple. But I mean, you've got in the case of Rosamia and Basque, like being gone for at least 25 or 30 episodes in a row, which is really, really long.
Especially Basque. That made that really kind of that would have been an interesting play because he was basically the third man.
Yeah, he was
in the Titans,
and
not to see him.
Made him seem more insignificant than what he really was. I mean, he was the guy under Jamatov, man. He was the second in command as far as I'm concerned. He was just gone. And
And then in Double Zeta, you have Mashima, who was a clown, but then he vanishes for like 30 episodes, and when he comes back, he's some buffed up artificial new type psycho man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dropping colonies and blowing himself up with new type power.
He does go out like the man, though.
Like, wait
he
a
does
second.
go out like a champ, though.
Goes out like a Z fighter. He blows himself up.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And kills nobody.
Yeah.
Kills nobody.
Yeah, he really didn't do much. As much as I like that character, he didn't do too much.
Yeah,
but
he was kind of a footnote.
He awesomely exploded and managed to kill nobody.
Yeah.
That's a daggone shame. But what about someone who did die like a gangster? That Tomino, I guess, was he was savoring this death. But I always liked the showdown between Judo and Haman Khan.
She committed suicide.
She died like a gangster. She died kind of dumb.
She did, but I mean, it was
that once again too, and that would bring to one of my dislikes of Tomino, and this is a good segue.
What's that?
Is the horrible treatment of some of the beloved characters,
especially women,
that you have especially women in these shows.
Yeah.
I mean, even the treatment of Char in some of his works, the treatment of women. I mean, just being so demonized and so maniacal.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, he's
definitely got some women issues.
Yeah, he definitely does,
especially with mothers, because that's another thing I noticed in a lot of shows. He has characters who don't get along with their parents, but specifically their mothers. I mean, these women are just bitches. I mean, you look at Amuro's mother, Camille's mother.
Yes.
Judo has no parents.
I thought Camille's mother was a bit more endearing. Yeah, he has no mother.
Uso's mother was actually nice and pretty normal.
Yeah, and somebody probably helped him writing that.
But she
was just absent. She was just very absent, and that was...
Yeah, so I think Tomino's definitely got some parental issues, and we don't know much about his life, but that's something that I wanted to mention. He and a lot of the women, especially like in Zeta and even more so Victory, they're just maniacal bitches.
Yes, they are backstabbing, literally in some ways, figuratively in others.
I don't know if this guy's just been hurt in his relationships or what, but I mean, like some of these women, I mean, like look at like Katagina.
Yeah, I was gonna mention her.
She turns from like a well, we already discussed her, so let's not get into her. But again, that's something. And then, oh man, I lost my train of thought. That sort of leads into another thing that Tomino tends to not do so well, in my opinion, which is romance.
Yes.
Yeah. Although he wanted to do a romance series, and they kind of shafted him.
Wanting to and being able to do it are two different things.
Well, yeah, that's true. And maybe Sunrise had the inside of saying, "Is like, well, we don't think you can."
But he definitely cannot do that right at all.
In the original series, I think what happened with Amuro and Lala worked because it wasn't really a romance. It was more of like a spiritual connection with their new type bonding.
Yeah.
Because I don't think even he identifies what he felt for her at the time as love.
Right.
He's a kid. What does he know? And I think Char did feel love for Lala, and that in part is what hurt him so much when she died. But with her and Amuro, it was sort of something beyond love.
Right.
And I think actually he might have one of them described it that way. During those weird new type moments. But then you get into something like Zeta, and it's sort of similar with Camille and 4, but not quite, and that's really not developed too much. Double Zeta, not really any romance there with Judo, although Haman's got that thing for him.
Not at all.
Victory, Uso kind of has a crush on Katagina, and then she goes and stabs him in the back.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
On turn A, Laurent, he's got a thing for Diana, but she likes him too. So I think as far as Gundam goes, that was probably Tomino's best stab at romance.
Yes, it was. And I mean, as much as we are talking ill about some of the things he does do, I think one of the nice things he's done is, with you talking about turn A, is he has tried to reinvent.
Yeah. His later series have been
Gundam.
a lot.
He's happy Tomino.
And he's tried to reinvent it, and it and Turn A is a very underrated show in a lot of ways, and I mean it was very strong and everything like that, but it definitely, you can definitely see his maturing as a writer and a director. But Soulbro, any dislikes or likes of the old bald wizard there?
Well, other than cashing in a lot of characters too early or just entirely, I like Tomino overall. I think his effect on just anime in general is pretty profound. Granted, a lot of his earlier works are tragedies, but looking at the Gundam series, I'd have to definitely say that Zeta's still my favorite out of all of them that he's done. I had a lot of issues, like with the women issues in Zeta. Granted, his emphasis on Zeta was that women had to become an active part of the military. And he brought that in because there was such a shortage of men from the 1 Year War and all the conflicts in between. One thing I didn't like about Zeta was what he did with Rakoa. I think that mid-series switch was just a bit, I don't know, it wasn't as defined as I'd like it to be. I think I would like to have seen more interaction between her and Quattro. And what she ended up being a bitch to Camille, but granted we understood why, because she just had really effed up things happen to her and all that
issues.
Again, Tomino's issues with women are easily reflected in her, but I guess my big thing that I dislike Tomino for is just not giving characters enough screen time, and other than that, I mean, granted, he's made up for his mistakes with Turn A in a lot of ways, but granted, Victory is still one of the most traumatizing series to watch.
It's funny because I feel Turn A in a lot of ways is kind of his appeal to the fans, that all the things that you complained about with the needless killing of characters, the needless dropping of characters, and whatever. Turn A, he does basically not really follow any of those routes. I don't really remember too many characters falling off in Turn A. It seemed like everybody was pretty much, not to the extent that we were speaking about, 20, 30 episodes, but, the stab at, actually making the romance between the main character and one of the women work, instead of just like an infatuation, and, he can't, there's too many things for him to worry about love at this point.
Yeah.
And, but, I mean, the thing I do like about another thing I do like about what he's done with Gundam is making, I think, is something that we pointed to earlier, especially with Zeta, is making Gundam more gender equal. I think, especially as groundbreaking as Mobile Suit Gundam was as being a real robot thing, I think what it might have made it even more so was the role of the women in that show, because if you watch a lot of those 70s mech shows, I mean, the girls are just there as eye candy.
Fan service all day.
Well, he did do some things there, because, Sayla was a bridge bunny, but then she eventually...
Yeah.
I mean, she piloted the Gundam, and then she eventually became a pilot of, either the Core Booster or the G-Fighter, so, she proved what she was worth. And another thing that I definitely do want to highlight is Tomino is really good at choreographing battles. I mean, you look at, for example, that final battle between Amuro and Char in the original series, where they're just blowing the crap out of the Gundam and the Zeong, and then it just keeps on moving to where they're on foot.
Oh, yes.
And shooting at each other, and then they're fighting with swords. I mean, it's just like...
Swords, yeah.
Really, really exciting battle, which, even with the limits of the animation from 1980, man, that's just an exciting battle. Other things, like in Zeta, where you've got Char single-handedly trying to hold off Haman and Sirocco inside grips too, and he's getting the crap blown out of the Hyakushiki by these much more powerful mobile suits.
Yeah.
Even before that, the dramatic moment on the stage when they all got inside the amphitheater and were conversing back and forth, that was just a great scene.
Yeah.
Well,
or even more recently.
Mm-hmm. I was just gonna say, he's able to take the intensity of those battles and project it on you as the viewer. I mean, you get to see these in a lot of shows. You get to see these great battles, but you actually, when you're watching a lot of these battles in the Tomino Gundam shows, I mean, like you said, you're on your feet. That last battle with Char and Amuro in the original series, you're on your feet like, holy crap, these guys really do hate each other, and there is this intensity to, vanquish the other one.
Yeah, or even more recently in Turn A, that final battle between Jim and Laron, where they're just going at it with the moonlight butterflies, and then even they end up switching to fighting with swords, and it's just
Didn't it go from space to Earth?
Yes.
That was like a first.
Yeah, that's true. They began in space and they ended up on Earth.
Ended up on Terra Firma. It's like, wow, that's the most amazing thing right there.
Now,
and then of course the swords.
Before we close out this segment, any last comments relating to Tomino and Gundam?
Myself, I wish Tomino would be a little bit more humble. when it comes to Gundam. I'm sure as an artist, I would probably not want to be, there's probably certain things that artists do that they want to be remembered for instead of other things. And I think he's probably more proud of certain other works than maybe some of his works of Gundam. But I don't like the fact that he kind of poo-poos the whole Gundam franchise now, and he doesn't really want to embrace it. And I mean, I can kind of understand with the Japanese mindset, those people are insane, so they probably drive him crazy at conventions and stuff. But there does come a point where you do have to kind of, he that's what he's going to be remembered for. Even though for all the other great shows that he's done, he's going to be remembered for Mobile Suit Gundam.
As a writer, in his defense, he never wanted to be just some anime director. He wanted to be a serious novelist, and because of Gundam, yes, it's been a great success, for him, but it's also been a hindrance because he's been pigeonholed and stereotyped as being the Gundam creator and the Gundam director. So I can see, where all of his angst comes from, and it's well founded that, he's probably wanted to do a lot of other things with his life, and Gundam took him in a direction that maybe he didn't want to go, because he got stuck to it, like it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I think at this point, if he would just kind of embrace it a little bit, because I mean, the guy gets a credit on.
I think he has. I mean, the fact that he came back and he did Turn A.
That is true.
The fact that he did. The fact that he did the Zeta movies, and he's been at a lot of. Ever since Turn A, he's been showing up at a lot of Gundam events, which I don't think he was doing so much right before Turn A for a while. Right. So I think he's finally accepted it, and he's comfortable with it. And if his comments about Zeta being the end, the Zeta movies being the end for him, are any indication, I think he's finally, after all these years, accepted, what his role is and how he's connected to Gundam, and I think he's okay with it now.
Yeah, but I've also heard him say things about some of the other shows too, and the alternate shows.
He hasn't watched any of the alternate shows, but I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, he may think he could have done it better, or I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't see them as any kind of even being worth taking the time to watch. But all the directors and the creative staff behind those series actually adore his previous works enough to actually do a Gundam series themselves. So I think he should give them acknowledgement a little bit more.
I think if even if he felt like he doesn't like those series, it's one of those things where you just don't say it. You just say, well, Gundam's Gundam or whatever. But I don't know. Anything on your end there, Chris?
One thing that I would caution is there's a lot of stuff that appears on the internet of, Tomino says this, Tomino says that, true. Tomino, and most of it is garbage. So unless you've read firsthand, like a review in a magazine or a comment on Ganoda or something, there's all sorts of different conflicting statements about whether he's seen some of the other shows, whether he hasn't. The one thing that I have seen in print with my own eyes that's most consistent is that he thinks that it's time for young people to direct Gundam.
Yes.
He said that at the start of Seed. He said it during the Zeta movies. So I think he knows that Gundam is going to be going on for a long time, even after he's gone, and he's accepted the fact that, other people are going to be playing in his sandbox, and I think he's okay with that. And he's saying that, it's time for the next generation to step in and do Gundam their way.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I'm glad he feels that way, because it's nice that he does support new directors and new creative teams to develop Gundam, and I hope I just hope that he can branch out. My main hope for him is I like to see him do a series that has nothing to do with Mecha. I like to see him. I mean, granted, he's known for that, but I like to see him do a series that has nothing to do with Mecha, like he used to do back in the day when he directed for Tezuka. But I guess that's a whole nother subject for next week when we go into his other works. But
and I think that'll close it up for this segment. And the next episode we'll be discussing Tomino's non-Gundam works, and we'll be right back after this commercial break at Gundam at MAHQ.
Gundam.
Damn! Al. Okay, listen carefully. Inside this package, you'll find a full taped confession and all of the evidence. I wanted to explain just why this colony has been targeted for nuclear attack. It's important that if I die, that you take this to the police. If you can get an adult to believe you, the colony can still be saved. You're probably wondering why I didn't just take this to them myself. Well, you see, you have to understand, it would have been like running away. If I ducked out of fighting now, I don't think I could have ever lived with myself. It's not like I hate the Federation or anything, or that I want to avenge the captain and the others. I'm not sure how to put it. You see, I need to fight the Gundam now. Maybe it's because I'm a soldier. I really don't know the reason why. Hey, Al, I'm most likely going to die. But whatever happens, don't hate the Gundam pilot. And don't go hating the Fedi soldiers. Because they're like us. You and me.
In this world we live in, just hold on, don't give in. Keep your faith. Living in a place that's so imperfect.
They're just people simply doing what they think is right, that's all. I know that it's hard, but try not to hate them. And don't blame yourself either, okay? Please, Al. This is all I ask. With luck, if I do manage to get out of this alive and the war ends, I'll visit you. I'll come back to this colony. That's a promise. Well, I guess that's it. Take care, Al. By the way, say hi to Chris. See you, kid.
No, we don't want to think. We want to know. Take him to the kennel, stick the dogs on his ass. We'll find out for damn sure what he knows and what he don't.
This is Chris, just wrapping up episode 7 of Gundam at MAHQ. So we took a look today at the premiere episode of Macross Frontier, and we'll definitely be covering that show when its regular broadcast starts up in April. We also did our monthly wrap-up of Gundam 00, taking a look at episodes 9 through 12. So by the end of maybe this month, early February, we'll have the next set of episodes. And we also kicked off the beginning of our 2-part series on the mind of Yoshiyuki Tomino, looking at his Gundam works and some things that we like and some things that we didn't like. So next episode, we'll be looking at some of his non-Gundam works, Dunbine, Idion, that sort of stuff. So
can't wait to tear into that, especially Dunbine. It's time.
Definitely.
But by the way, for those that are interested, of course you can find us at www.mahq.net. Also, the main MySpace webpage for Gundam at MAHQ, of course, is myspace.com/Gundam the show. Also, for those interested in the music you hear in between segments, there's also a MySpace site for that, and that's myspace.com/Garma Strikes. And if you go there, you can download any of the songs or listen to them. And on top of that, for all the news, a lot of the news that we get for Gundam, of course, comes from Ganata or Ganota. And you can go to the website, which is
tomato
aeug.blogspot.com. And to reach us for any kind of comments, you can either go to the forums at mechatalk.net or reach us by email at gundam.mahq@gmail.com.
And lastly, everybody, we appreciate all of the feedback that we've been getting to 2008, and we'd love to get more, particularly for another mailbag segment. So
yes.
Whether you want to just post something on the forum, or if you want to record something and send us a message to include in the show, you can find instructions for that at mechatalk.net. And that wraps it up for episode 8. So say goodbye, guys.
All right. This is Neo saying keep it up and keep giving us feedback, and we'll... looking for a good 2008.
And this is Sobro saying thank you for downloading Lucky Number 7, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Gundam. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
And well, I got nothing else to add to that, so we're out of here. Catch you later.
Why so sad? Dost thou weepeth? Is it that you can't recollect the deed, or you refuse to acknowledge it? To turn away from the past is to lose it. And parting is such sweet sorrow, is it not? Tell me your answer. Am I correct in my assumption? Who are you? What do you mean? Don't you like Shakespeare? Forbidden fruit is the sweetest kind. What was it you called your friend? You know who I'm talking about, don't you? That monstrosity the Army calls the giant alien robot Extra 1. You mean Frank? Yes, that's right. You'd like to destroy him, wouldn't you? Or have someone else do it for you? When the scale is balanced, it takes the slightest nudge to tip it. As Demetrius said, when two objects are of equal weight, a simple speck of dust can make one heavier. Want vengeance or clemency? Well, you hate it, tell the truth. It's a very tough choice, like a little nudge.
Gundam!
At MAHQ is a
Shinjuku Station
and MAHQ production.
Give up, son. Go back to photocopies and paper cuts. That's your true calling.